morning, CSL family. We're so glad you're here. Getting ready to get the service started. It's a beautiful day in Boise, Idaho. We're glad you're here in the building and also online with us. Please put your hands together for Miss Jen Potcher.
Troubles, wash away my pain with the rain and Shambhala. Wash away my sorrow, wash away my shame with the rain and Shambhala. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Everyone is helpful. Everyone is kind on the road to Shambhala. Everyone is lucky. Everyone is so kind on the road to Shambhala. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? I can tell my sister by the flowers in her eyes on the road to Shambhala. I can tell my brother by the flowers in his eyes on the road to Shambhala. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? Tell me, how does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala? How does your light shine in the halls of Shambhala?
Show must go on. Good idea.
We'll figure this out in a moment. Good morning. Ooh, somebody was tall at this thing, weren't they? Good morning. I'm Jackie Holland, and it is my honor, my privilege, my pleasure to be welcoming you here in lovely Boise, Idaho. So, you know, every Sunday morning I have to give a weather report for my friends in Southern California. Ha, 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 ha. You're getting snow. Sorry. Now you know, huh? Only they're not equipped for it as we are, as you might know. My friends in Southern California are freaking out. I'm serious. They're like shutting their lives down. Do they have enough water and food? Oh, please. I suppose I'd be that way too. But seriously, all our friends in Southern California, we love you. We're sending you lots of sunshine and lots of wonderful safety and good things down there. And for the rest of you who are here in the sanctuary with us, thank you. Thank you for being with us this morning. And for those of you online, I hope you know how much we appreciate it. We love it when you share, and we love it when you comment. So please let us know that you're with us. This morning, you've already heard the amazing dulcet tones of the much-missed Miss Jen Potcher. Of course, you know, Jen has been scheduled to be here several times, but every time she's scheduled, she gets a film. She gets a role. She gets a part. And of course, we're supporting her in this amazing journey of hers as she is breaking into that field. And we're so proud of her. And we'll let her tell you, after church today, we have a lovely hospitality after church, some food. We're going to serve you some lunch today because we had a memorial here yesterday and we've got lots of food left over. So stay and talk to Jen about some of the exciting things that she's been doing. Now, Jen, I didn't like that. I'll talk to you about it at dinner. So this morning, also supporting our beloved Jen is Rex Miller and Phil Bowden, our great musicians. And we're just sending a little bit of love out to our beloved Ted McClurg, who's home, a little bit under the weather. We're missing him today, his low dulcet tones, but we just know that all is well with him. On sound this morning is Rob Compton, and on the camera today is Miss Jenna Nash. We've got so many people. Donna Sheedy did our e-blast this week. Our greeters this morning are Robert and Christine Spence. We're so excited to have them. Cleanup after church today is Margie Strong. As I already mentioned, the cookies and the food, wonderful, delicious food, will be brought to you by Rosalie Miedema. As we did her memorial service, I think she would be so pleased that we are once again having another meal on Rosalie. We want to thank especially Margie Strong today for hospitality as well. She has some amazing homemade cakes, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Francis setting up and Kelly Morris setting up our hospitality. And this morning with our children, we have Pamela Breckbill and Barbara Diamond. So let's just give all of our volunteers a hand. Let's just take a moment now. Settle in on your chair, wherever you are. Those of you at home, maybe you're sitting up in your bed, great. Just take a moment now and let everything shift. Let everything move away. And just be in this holy, sacred moment right here, right now. Take a deep breath in and out. We are so blessed to be together in community, to be together in love, to be together of one accord, that we are one. And as we open our hearts now to receive the word of Spirit through our beloved practitioner, Miss Donna Sheedy, we open our hearts even wider.
Good morning. It is my honor to introduce Stephanie Jackson, who will light the world religions candles from the Christ candle. In religious science, we perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people, all faiths come from one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. In lighting these candles, we honor the one family of humanity made up of over 4,000 religions and spiritual traditions throughout the world. We light the first candle for the Native American religions. From the Sioux prayer, we learn to interact with all creation and to walk the sacred path. We light the second candle for Hinduism. Here we learn we need to show compassion for all living beings. Compassion is the root of all religious beliefs. We light the third candle in honor of Shintoism. the native religion of the Japanese, which shares the Oriental respect for their cultural inheritance. And we light the fourth candle for Buddhism. Buddha said, "Whomever by a good deed covers the evil done, such a one illuminates the world like the moon freed from the clouds." The fifth and final candle honors New Thought. New Thought honors the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. So let us quiet our mind and open our hearts to the song being sung by Jen Potcher.
Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Oh, divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it's in giving that we receive, and it's in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it's in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
So let us pray. So as we are in this beautiful sacred space, this is the space that we recognize that one powerful presence of God, that one mind, that one love, the one joy, the one peace. God is all of this and oh, so much more. But above all, it's love. And I know right where I am that God is, as God surrounds me, comes through me, in me, and as me. And I know the same beautiful truth for each person listening to my voice right now, as God comes through all of us. Each of us are a perfect whole manifestation of spirit right now, right here on this earthly plane. So I bless all of the hearts and minds that have come together to make this service perfect and whole and exactly as it is to be. I also bless all of those ears that are listening to this message today, that all of our hearts and minds are open to receiving the message exactly as we are to hear it and taking it for our highest and best well-being. And I say a special blessing for our beloved Reverend Jackie Holland as she comes forth to deliver this message. She's setting aside her humanness and allowing God to use her as a vessel to deliver the message that we all need to hear. So I call this service good and so, so very good. So together we say, Namaste, Om, Shanti, Ashe, Aho, amen, and so it is. And then now for Jen Potcher again. Yay.
I'd gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart could understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? When we stand together, it's our finest hour. We can do anything, anything. Keep believing in the power between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Yeah, yes I do. Love can build a bridge. Love and only love between your heart and mine. Don't you think it's time? Oh, don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
In the United Church of Religious Science, when you are ordained, it takes about 2 years minimum to be ordained once you graduate and you have a church. And it's a very big ceremony, and this was my ordination song. Yes. So when Jen Potcher called me and said, you know, a few years ago we did a talk together, I said, oh, Jen, I rarely revive talks, but you know what, we're going to today. And some of you have already heard it, and that's all right, and some of you haven't, and that's good too, because you can hear something more than once, I think, in life. Don't you agree? But first, before we begin, or as we begin, I want to tell you a story, something that happened to me last night as I was going down to pick up Reverend Janine to take her to the Philharmonic, that craziness on Cloverdale, as some of you know. I had to take a detour on 5 Mile. And at 5 Mile in Amity, there were about 3 cars in front of me at a stoplight and several cars behind me, bunched up as cars will do when they're in a stoplight. And a little smaller white car in front of me all of a sudden began to back up. Her backup lights, the person's backup lights came on, and I did a quick little, like that, beep, beep. I promise, I'm telling you the truth. I did not go, honk, I did not, which most of you think I would have done, but I did not. I did not. I really just went a little, just to remind her, hey, I'm back here, don't hit my car, please. I'll be late for the Philharmonic. No. This person became so incensed at this little thing that she started making the most obscene gestures in the mirror. So if I tell you it's obscene, you know it was obscene. But more than that, in flashing what I happen to know is a white supremacist sign. And then she was doing crazy things like at me. I thought, is this light never going to change? I mean, it felt like it was 20 minutes, seriously. And I knew the best thing to do was just not to make eye contact. At least I believed that that was the best thing to do. And so I looked away, but you can't help but think to yourself, what? What is this? Little tiny honk, helping you as much as me, I thought. And then her hand came up, and my imagination maybe went wild or whatever, but there was something dark in her hand, and all of a sudden I really realized the power of hate. And so I, in that instant, thought, as I've been teaching all month, how can I bring love here? How can I bring love here? What can I do to diffuse this? And there was really, truly nothing. And then, as God will work its magic, the red light changed and people began to move, and she also moved. The whole way to pick up Reverend Janine, I was conflicted. I was so conflicted. How could I get to my heart space? In the face of, in my opinion, unwarranted hate, unwarranted whatever, I really felt so discombobulated all evening over that. And all evening I thought, how can we get to our heart space when something like that happens? And did I mention that there was a little child in the car, in the back seat? And that, I think, distressed me even the most, that a little child was witnessing. Obviously, the woman was also probably yelling out loud because I could read her lips, you know what I'm saying. How can I get to my heart? Mystic and sages throughout all the ages have taught that romantic love is just a touch of the divine love, and that the heart is the hub of all sacred places. Rumi, the Hindu saint, summed it up when he said, "The heart is the hub of all sacred places. Go there and roam." In every religion, as we continue this month of love, as we finish this month of love, I want to say that every religion, the heart is celebrated as precious and magical. It's a place of harmony, of compassion, of love and healing. In Catholic art, Jesus the Christ is often shown with a heart so illuminated that it's on fire. We've all seen those photographs, those paintings, photographs. Wouldn't that be nice to have a photograph of Jesus with his heart on fire? I meant to say painting. In the Sanskrit writings, the blazing light of the heart is said to be so great it can burn away all impurities. In the Kabbalah, the mystical branch of Judaism, the light associated with the heart is the very center of the tree of life. It is where everything comes into perfect balance. And that's what I remember. If I can get to my heart space, the center of all things, then we can come into perfect balance. In the East, the heart is considered to be the seat of consciousness. After all, it's when we strip away the chatter of the mind that we can live in the wisdom of our heart, we are taught from our wise Eastern cousins. The Tibetan mantra, Om Mani Padre means, in translation, the jewel of consciousness is in the heart's lotus. The jewel of consciousness is in your heart. What's consciousness? Ask your heart. Are we being conscious? Ask your heart. And the Chinese word for heart, Zen, means both heart and mind. So that there must be the marriage of the heart and the mind. So I am awed and inspired by the power of our heart. If we can keep it open, if we can keep it receptive, if we can just say to ourselves, how can I get into that heart space in those moments of hardness, in those moments of dislike, in those moments of fear? How can I get to my heart? And I used to think that romantic love was the apex of it all. I did. As a young girl, it was romantic. You had to find your Prince Charming. You had to find your Prince Charming. It would be good if he could kiss you and wake you up, but you had to find your Prince Charming. So I thought that romantic love was the apex of it all. And it's stunning. Of course it's stunning. Of course I'd love to have it, as I'm sure so many of you do have it. But the deeper I delve into this thing that we call the heart, the more I learn that love can be transcendent. Love in our hearts can shine the way the sunshine shines on everything and everyone and at all times. The love that we feel for our beloved and our children and our family members can be shared with everyone and everything, even the woman in front of you who is really doing just, it was, and then putting her hand out the window. I was like, tell me what this means. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves to love because we have been so enmeshed in separation for so long. We have forgotten the core concept of religious science, which is oneness, that we are all one in spite of our differences. And perhaps because of our differences, we remind ourselves to love in the hard times, in the difficult times. All month long, I have quoted the greatest Jew who ever lived, Jesus, the master teacher, who told us, and I repeat until you're probably sick of it, but I repeat again, the two most important commandments were to love God with all our hearts, all our minds, all our souls, and to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Now, I know I say this all the time, and I do not mean it in a humorous way, but I really hope for some of us that we can love our neighbors more than we love ourselves, because we're still learning to love ourselves, many of us. How do we love the other the way we wish to be loved? He also said, as I've said several times this month, you will know my disciples by how they love one another. This is the basic teaching of religious science as well. We will know you by the way you love each other. So of all the spiritual practices, of all the spiritual ideas and principles in our faith, we believe in this faith that the most important principle of all is to love. Religious science teaches that one of the most transformational questions we have to ask ourselves, as I did last night, is how can I bring love to this situation, no matter what it is? How can I love my neighbors? How can I love my neighbors, those neighbors that look different than me, that believe differently than I do, those neighbors that I can't stand because of their political beliefs or the signs that they have in their front yards, like my neighbors with the 10 Commandments. What's that about? Those neighbors that I can't stand because of their political beliefs or what they wear or who they love or even what they eat. As I said on Thursday night, we are encouraged as religious scientists to dig deeper and to ask ourselves, am I truly loving people unconditionally, or am I in judgment? As I judged that woman last night and this morning and even a few minutes ago when I was talking about her, I had judgment. The question that we ask ourselves when we read about a new immigration policy that is so disappointing. So disappointing. The new immigration policy breaks my heart. We're encouraged to ask ourselves deeper, how can I bring love to this situation? We're encouraged to ask ourselves, as the song said, would I walk across the desert without shoes to give an immigrant on the southern border of our nation the last piece of my bread? We're encouraged to ask ourselves, can I love enough to reach out to that woman whose life is shattered, who has been beaten by her husband or her mate? And can I try to build a bridge of love between my heart and her heart of broken dreams? We ask ourselves, how much can I love? How much do I really, really love my neighbor?
Let me walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet, to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. But all your hopes are sinking. Let me sing to you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
The question is, what are each of us doing to expand that love? How well are you doing at loving your neighbors as you do yourself? How are you doing at loving our legislature this year? How well are you doing loving them unconditionally? Or do you let little judgments get in the way of being a loving presence? Are you letting little ideas or judgments prevent you from being the most loving version of yourself? This is a house of love. Our job, both in and outside of here, is not to judge, but to love, just to love. The Center for Spiritual Living of Boise, Idaho has committed itself to being an unconditionally loving community. But what does that mean, really? When we enter an unconditionally loving community or organization or family or business for the first time you walk through these doors of this church, I'm certain that the question that you ask yourself is, what do I have to do to fit in here? Who do I have to be a part of this church? Are these people my tribe? Are these people living in alignment with what I think I want to live? The question is asked at such a deep psychological level that most times we're not even certain, we're not sure, we're not even aware that we're asking that question. Will I fit in here? Is this my place? Is it truly what it says it's going to be? Because we're so used to compartmentalizing and fragmenting parts of ourselves that it's almost second nature to begin conforming and trying to fit into an environment the moment we enter into it. But within an unconditionally loving environment like I believe our center to be, the situation changes radically because it's no longer about individually fitting into this community, but it is about this community open its heart, open its mind, open its spirit, and welcoming everyone, making sure that there's room for everybody here, making sure that everybody is accepted, that no matter who they are, no matter what their needs, their situation, their status in life, whatever it is, that's our job. Not to have people fit in with us, not to have people conform to us, to change for us, but it's for us to open our hearts, our doors, our arms wider and wider. So our job as an unconditionally loving community is to expand over and over and over again to make sure that we're big enough, that we have enough room for everybody who shows up here, whether it's online or whether it's in this sanctuary. Enough room for everybody who shows up, because that's the way God is. That's the way God is, always expanding its heart and accepting and loving. It keeps expanding itself with unconditional love for each and every one of us. And so as part of an unconditionally loving community, every person here, whether you're a member, a congregant, or even just a visitor, not just a visitor, a wonderful, treasured visitor here today, our responsibility is to look at our own judgments, really look at our own judgments and say, am I being the most loving version of myself that I can be? Am I judging the people around me, or I'm being with them in a manner that's loving, generous, forgiving, accepting, and embracing them right where they are? Because our job in this church and in our lives is to love the way divine loves. Our job is to love as Spirit loves. Whatever word you use, whatever word you want to use for your God. And that's a big spiritual assignment. That's a big job that we've taken on. No matter who's in front of us or behind us or beside us, our job is to surrender all the ways our minds want to judge and just be lovingly with each other. Our job is to love each other with fully open hearts. So how big can you love today? How big can you love today? I believe every encounter with another human being is a holy opportunity to keep expanding our capacity to love, to keep expanding and expanding and expanding our hearts, to become a greater channel for God's love through us. Every encounter with another human being is a sacred opportunity to speak love so loudly that every heart hears us and understands and accepts our love and learns to love the world in return. Really, really. Isn't it finally time to realize that it all really does begin with me and with you? The only place it ever can begin is with you and me and others who will join us in this circle of love and compassion. Others like you and me who have rejected the idea of the other, and understand that we are all one on this beautiful, beautiful planet that we call home.
I would whisper love so loudly every heart could understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
How big can you love today? Because you see, a bridge is a two-way thing. It allows us to approach people, but it also gives other people an opportunity to come to us. It's a two-way street. To build a bridge of love is to be open and available to the person on the other side of that bridge, even if it's your so-called enemy. I know in this room, because you're here in this philosophy, that you've already built so many bridges of love. I know that. You built a bridge of love whenever you visited somebody who was hurting. You built a bridge whenever you swallowed your pride and made the first call to mend a broken relationship. You built a bridge of love whenever you delivered food to the homeless or with Meals on Wheels. You built a bridge of love whenever you said, I'm sorry. How can I help? What do you need? I'm here for you. You built a strong bridge every time you held a hand or just listened or held somebody when they cried. You built the most incredible bridge every single time you stood up for somebody who could not or were too afraid to speak for themselves. Every time you go and hold a placard for peace or love, you're building a bridge. Anytime you've done anything for someone that was beyond your comfort zone, you were building bridges of love. But right now, just like me, maybe there's somebody in your life that's standing on the other side of a great gulf between the two of you. Maybe that person can't cross the bridge, and you can't find a way to cross the bridge either. Maybe there's no bridge there. Perhaps it's another political party or a group of people that refused to add the words or took away women's reproductive rights, or even now are attempting to take away health care for our trans community. Maybe that's who we have to cross the bridge to make peace with before we can get a solution here. Maybe it's somebody who hurt you or made you feel less than you know you are. Or maybe the person on the other side of that divide is you. Maybe you're having trouble reconciling how you feel about yourself and past actions. Let it go. Because love can heal this. I promise you, as we end this month of love, if you take nothing else away from these 4 weeks, I want you to take this. No matter what it is, I promise you, love can heal it. And if you can't find the way to cross that bridge by yourself, call these practitioners. They'll walk across that bridge with you. They'll hold your hand and pray you across that bridge, because that's what we're here for. So the only question that you have to ask yourself, and that I have to ask myself now, is am I willing to reach across the divide with love? Last night, I'm telling you, with every ounce it took, I stopped my car because I was a little shaken. And I prayed for that woman. And I prayed that she knew love. And that whatever it was that was causing her to be so angry, that she would find that love in her heart. And then I realized that that prayer was for me, not her. My anger, my bitterness, my worry, my shame, my concern. And I remind myself, are you willing to reach your hand out and ask for help? But most of all, this is the question to ask yourself now. Are you willing to take the first step to walk across that bridge? Are you willing?
When we stand together, it's our finest hour. We can do anything. Anything. We keep believing in the power. Between your heart and mine, love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Yes, I do. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time?
One more time.
Don't you think it's time?
Come on, stand up So this is what our faith, religious science, stay standing please. This is what our faith, religious science, calls to us. It teaches us. It entreats us to build bridges of love everywhere, all the time. We teach that life is calling each one of us to deeply, humbly, unconditionally love one another. And when we look into each other's eyes, to recognize that you and I are one. Please turn here in the sanctuary and spread some love. And on the live stream, just look right into my eyes. We are one. So let's just take a deep breath together as we are just giving everybody in the sanctuary hugs. Yeah. You may be seated anytime. As we remind ourselves, there are so many people in this community for which we are praying right now. Particularly this morning, we are just holding Rosalie Meadama's family in our hearts as today becomes difficult for them after the memorial service. And for all of you who have requested prayer, please know we're holding you, loving you. Let's just turn within.
In this space, in this place of love, this is the place that we recognize that one powerful presence that we call God. So many other names. This God is peace and wholeness, and above all, love. Love is the God. And this presence of spirit is so much bigger than our little human minds can comprehend, but so much more, that this love permeates all things seen and unseen. And I know right where I am that this God is it comes through me, in me, and as me. And the same perfect divine truth for all within the sound of my voice. As you are surrounded by God, as God comes through you and in you as well, expressing as that spirit of love right here, right now on this earthly plane, divinely connected to that spirit, one with God. And so it's from this place of connection, this place of oneness, that I can speak my word and speak my truth for those that are hurting now, that their hearts are broken open, that their hearts and their lives are touched by God, that love heals that heart, heals their lives, that love is surrounding them. They feel that connection to all of us, and they know they are not alone. Love is healing their heart right here, right now, has healed their heart. And for those that have asked for prayer for the body temple, again, that this love is permeating, this wholeness, this perfection is revealed in them right now. Their body is strong, their body is whole, and that revealing is happened right here, right now. Every muscle, every tissue working perfectly and easily, pain-free. And for those who've asked for prayer for finances and abundance in their life, it is theirs right now, right here. For God, Spirit, universe is the source. And it is theirs right now. These resources are are revealed to them. Their hearts and their minds are open to seeing this. It is theirs right now. All the goodness in this universe is ours. And I say a special word for the leaders in our community, spiritual leaders, political leaders, corporate leaders, all working in concert together, that they are connected to their divine right now. Know this connection to that oneness and to each other, working together to flow together to make this community work for everyone, that we are all connected, that this love is working together for all of us. All of us. So I am deeply grateful for knowing the truth of this word, for I know it is already manifest in God, in the universe, in the law. So with a grateful heart, I let it go and I let God, for I know it is already done. So I call it good, and oh, so very good. And so it is. Amen.
Take a deep breath. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is.
So it is. You know, we've been talking about love all month. Love for each other, humans, love for all sentient beings. I want to invite Sue, please, Sue Montague, to come to the stage and talk about something about love that's so dear to all of us. There you go.
I don't know how many of you saw the article in the paper in the last few days. West Valley Humane Society desperate for dog food donations, and this will be out on the table so you can read it. It's not often that a shelter puts out a thing like this. They always need food. It's an ongoing thing, but this is really serious. It shows a picture of the bare shelves. So if you could all please just give a little extra, bring some big bags, or go out there yourselves. It's on Gray Lane in Caldwell. It's not too hard to get to. And there'll be somebody there to accept your donations. They need all kinds of dog food, cat food, puppy food, kitten food. The list will be out there. So thank you so much. It's my favorite cause. And I hope I've spread a little inspiration.
Thank you, Sue. So what we're asking is the next time you're in the grocery store or Costco, and you can pick up one of those big bags of food, and if you want to bring it here, Sue will make arrangements to get it where it needs to be. I'm sorry? She'll be going once a week. So there's several ways that you can help with this crisis, because we've had an influx of a lot of dogs from areas that have been hard hit, and they're coming here to Boise. So you can bring food next time you're in the grocery store. Just say, I can afford another $15 for this Save a Dog's Life. Or you can make a donation if you want. We'll make sure it gets to the right place. So just bring your food in and just put it in the lobby, and we'll make sure it gets there. Or as Sue said, you can take it. This is the Caldwell branch, correct? This is the one in Caldwell. So it might be a little bit of a drive for all of you. But anyway, thank you for loving our animals. Right now, the desperate need is for dog food, but they also always need other food for other animals as well. So if you don't want to shop, you can always write a check. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I just want to say once again to all of you, thank you for being here. For those of you who are online, I just want to remind you that those individuals in the sanctuary can fill out this prayer request. And they can also see a prayer practitioner, which will be Donna today, at the end of this west hallway in the prayer room. But for those of you who are online, you're not here, so you can't do that. But you can receive prayer simply by sending your confidential prayer request to prayers@cslboise.org. Prayers at cslboise.org. And I remind all of you, both in the sanctuary and outside of the sanctuary, that if there's any question, thought, comment, anything that you want to let your church or your minister know about, please write us at office, email us at office@cslboise.org. Let me tell you, that is one of the best ways to get in touch with me. Office@cslboise.org, and I get those emails daily, throughout the day, because they come directly to my personal email as well as to the church email. So please, don't be giving messages to people to get to me, because sometimes they don't. And that will be the best way to contact the church. So if you are with us for the first time today, we want you to know how glad we are to see you, or if you're returning for the first time since pandemic. I see some faces. We're so grateful to have you back, so glad to have you back. And we just want to make sure that we are the most up-to-date we can be. If you are new today, please fill out this connection card. It's in the seat in front of you. For those of you who are online, you can send the pertinent information, which is mostly your email address and your phone number, and we will get back to you. You can also give us your street address, but possibly it's just you want to send an email to office@cslboise.org and say, I want to give you my information, and we'll get back to you. And we will get all that information. So prayer request. Also, a quick reminder that our annual community meeting is coming up on the 19th, March 19th. I somehow have the 16th stuck in my head. I don't know why, but it's not. It's the 19th. Immediately after church, we're going to have a light lunch, and then we're going to get together, and we're going to talk about the church, the future of the church, where we are, what our plans are, solicit from you what you want to see coming forth in the future. All right? So please join us. And if you are not a member, but you think you're a member, because some people think just by coming to church that makes you a member, but if you have not filled out a blue membership application form, please do that. They are located on the table that's out in the lobby. So everyone is invited to the annual community meeting, but only members may vote on issues that are coming up. So if you want to have a say through your vote, which, boy, you know I'm big on vote, having a say through your vote, you know I'm big on that. You might want to join the church as a member simply by filling out this application. I hope that I have handled all the business, and if I haven't, oh well. Except to remind you that immediately after service today, we have a little light lunch for you today. Compliments, once again, of our beloved Rosalie Miedema, our Sacred Circle group that meets with Jackie Lugenbach, and others who brought food. There was so much that we decided to bring it in and share with you after service. Please join us. Please get a sandwich and sit at a community table and talk to somebody. I'm so appreciative of all of you. This is our conscious giving time, the time where some of you know about this from your former religions. When I was in the Southern Baptist Church, we called it tithing. Tithing is not a word that's used very often, but honestly, it's a great word. There's nothing wrong with that word. It just means giving a percentage of your income back to your spiritual home. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the entire community, I want to say thank you. I am saying thank you to all of you who have supported the church financially with your prayers, with your consciousness, with your attendance. For those of you who are online, we would not have made it during the difficult pandemic years without your support. We are deeply grateful and continue to be grateful for your continued giving. Many of you who will never step into this church because you live so far away. Thank you. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for your consciousness of giving. And most of all, thank you for participating in the law of circulation that is always saying, as you give, so shall you receive. This is a spiritual tool that will change your life. I'm telling you that. We're going to do some talks about giving later, but I just want to once again say thank you to all of you. So for those of you who give online, once again, thank you. If you don't know anything about it, there's a brochure. There's many ways to give. Right now, I'd just like to give you our mobile giving text, especially for you younger folks who love to do this, the dedicated text giving number is 208-782-4202. That's 208-782-4202. For those of you online, it's coming up so you can see it. For those of you in the sanctuary, pick up one of these forms and it'll tell you all the many ways you can give. For those of you who do give online and you're with us, just pick up one of these hearts and hold it to your chest if you want, symbolizing I've already given. I've already given. So let's just take our gift, our offering in our hands and say, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God. Thank you, life, for the abundance that is flowing through me, as me right now. And how grateful we are to be able to give a portion back to our spiritual community so that its work may continue here in Boise, the Treasure Valley, and beyond. And so we say, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God, as together we say, divine mind as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is. Amen. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Jen Potcher.
You're alone, you ask yourself, what are you searching for? In the night, a dream is born, one that you can't ignore. If you think you can find the passion and you're ready to take a chance, if you really believe you can make it, then the power is in your own hands. It's the moment of truth. You're giving it all, standing alone, willing to fall. If you can do it, get up and prove it. Get up and show them who you are. It's the moment of truth. It's all on the line. This is the place. This is the time. You've waited forever. It's now or it's never. Nothing can stop you now. So in your life, you made the choice. Ready to risk it all. In your soul, you hear a voice answering to the call. Though you know that it won't be easy, it's a promise you make for love, for the people that keep believing, and the one that you're thinking of. It's the moment of truth. You're giving it all, standing alone, willing to fall. If you can do it, get up and prove it. Get up and show them who you are. It's the moment of truth. It's all on the line. This is the place. This is the time. You've waited forever. It's now or it's never. Nothing can stop you now. It's the moment of truth. You're giving it all, standing alone, willing to fall. If you can do it, get up and prove it. Nothing can stop you now. It's the moment of truth. You're giving it all, standing alone, willing to fall. If you can do it, get up and prove it. Get up and show them who you are. It's the moment of truth. It's all on the line. This is the place. This is the time. You've waited forever. It's now or it's never. Nothing can stop you now. Oh.
let's give it up for Jen Potcher and the band. Woo! Woo! So if you're not already standing, stand up in the sanctuary and at home and receive your blessing. I bless you all that you see the light, you see your light, you be the light, and you share your light with all that you see this week. And so it is. So make it a great week, and I'll be in the prayer room.